What's that, doggy biscuits?
Magic System, Red One, Shawty.
You're watching Bermuda Tonight. It's Monday, June 25th. I'm Dianne Brewer, and thank you for joining us tonight. The head of the group behind Friday's parliamentary vote to abolish conscription says he will now pressure the government to hold a commission of inquiry into past claims of sexual abuse at Warwick Camp. Larry Marshall Sr. revealed his plans in a sit-down interview with Tarai Trott today, and he also gave his reaction to the historic vote by the House of Assembly.
A 13-year battle by Bermudians against the draft to end military conscription now set to come to an end following Senate approval in the face of past arrest, hearings, an unsuccessful court appeal, and an election promise. For Larry Marshall Sr., the head of Bermudians against the draft, or BAD, one word comes to mind in light of Friday's historical vote by the House of Assembly: vindication.
The comments made by Minister Keynes toward the end of the debate, when he said, because of the abolition of conscription today, Bermudians against the draft are vindicated. So that would be the sentiments not just of the Minister of National Security, but of the Premier and the entire cabinet, because you're dealing with collective responsibility.
What was noteworthy of the House's vote was the fact that it was unanimous and across party lines, a far cry from 2013 when the then OBA government blocked a bill abolishing conscription despite promising to do so.
The politicians understood that to continue to allow this system of conscription in Bermuda, particularly when you consider that way back in 1960 it was abolished in Britain, to continue to allow this system, it's not going to make them look good.
For Mr. Marshall, whose family has made huge sacrifices in the battle against conscription, the fundamental message against conscription hasn't changed.
Conscription is fundamentally wrong. Out of the 14 fundamental human rights and individual freedoms, conscription actually violates 7. The most egregious, of course, is forced labor.
Despite the impending abolition of conscription, the work of Bermudians against the draft will continue.
What's the next move for BAD? Is your work done?
As far as conscription, yes, but it has always been our objective not just to bring about the abolition of conscription, but also to have a royal commission set up to investigate allegations of sexual abuse in the Bermuda Regiment and to investigate allegations that sexual abuse was covered up. So I think now that we have been successful on the first level, we can then move to the second level. And I think it will be good for Bermuda because it has been a lot of rumors from the time I was a young man.
But Colonel Alan Rance, a member of the group calling itself the Nine Colonels, believes the regiment as we know it is doomed without conscription. He spoke to Tarai by phone today.
I think because it's strongly in the best interest of the regiment to maintain conscription. I feel there's a very high risk that without conscription, the regiment's manning strength will drop too low to sustain operations, which will lead to its failing or poorly executing its mission. And I think a plan that's to downsize and restructure implicitly recognizes the risk. But even with downsizing and restructuring, the risk will remain.
The fact that the UK abolished conscription in the 60s, the fact that Bermuda is the only territory to maintain it, and the charges from BAD that over the years that it violates key human rights. Does any of this resonate with your group?
Well, let's first of all, you need to put conscription and the location in the appropriate context. The UK is very different from Bermuda. Large landmass, large population, and its requirements for a size of military force very different from Bermuda. With respect to other overseas territories, again, it's a matter of putting it in the context. Whether they need or want to have some sort of military aid for the civil authority, that's all a matter of, that's the fundamental question. And having created the regiment through a Defense Act, then one needs to be able to manage appropriately.
And in response to the colonels, Mr. Marshall called them relics of the past and said they were, in his opinion, irrelevant. In other news, just how much money is the Department of Transportation losing from non-payment of fares and abuse of bus passes? Well, the answer depends on who you ask. While government has not responded, a number of bus operators we spoke with suggest it could be a small fortune. Gary Moreno brings us up to speed on the issue.
From what we were told, free bus passes are issued to school children, Bermuda College students and seniors, as well as people on financial assistance. Bus operators we spoke with contend quite often these bus pass holders attempt to board the pink and blues without showing their passes, and when asked to pay the fare, verbal and even physical confrontations ensue. Typically, this is how we're told it works. An individual will board the bus without paying, and when informed they have to ante up, the response is often, "I have a special person's pass," or "I'm up to college." But when asked to display their passes, they invariably say they don't have it, and then confrontations occur. According to a number of drivers we spoke with, if a passenger does not have their pass, they're expected to pay the requisite fare. It is also understood that primary, middle and high school students often attempt to get on the bus after hours and out of uniform with their government-issued passes, but are not supposed to, or so we're told. A quick check on the public transportation page on gov.bm revealed that people over the age of 5 are required to pay to use public transportation. Bermuda's senior citizens with a special person's card are free, as well as children under the age of 5. Also, student bus passes are good for unlimited travel on all scheduled bus services for the current school year. The passes must be presented to the bus operators upon boarding, though, and the rules state this is applicable to all students, including those attending the Bermuda College, who must also present their Bermuda College IDs. As to bus drivers asking for the fares to be paid, we are told they've been threatened with violence, physically assaulted, and even spat upon. One driver had someone activate the bus fire extinguisher while another was punched in the face. Meanwhile, we understand the Ministry of Transport and representatives of the bus operators are scheduled to meet on Wednesday of this week. Talks, we're told, will continue on the lack of proper bathroom facilities in St. George's, where there is reportedly only one bathroom to be used by both male and female operators. Also at issue, we're told, is the condition of the buses, some of which we understand have faulty tires and horns which don't work, among other concerns, which are said to make the vehicles a threat to road users. But let's pause. This was supposed to be a report on how much revenue is lost by the DPT as a result of non-payment of fares. Well, we wrote to the Ministry of Transport hoping to get answers to the following with regard to the non-payment issue. Is the Ministry of Transport aware of the situation? What is being done to address it? Is the DPT able to quantify how much is lost as a result of unpaid fares? And how was the shortfall being made up? Well, all we got from a spokesperson was, the government is aware of your inquiry. Should a response become available this afternoon, I will expedite its delivery. That was 6 days ago. Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
And we'll have more for you after the short break, including some good news for travelers to the U.S. Stay with us.
This is Rick Blomquist of De Pere, Wisconsin. His life is pretty comfortable. He lives in a comfy home, wears comfortable shoes. He even has a comfortable job. Rick Blomquist thought he had comfort all figured out. But then he laid on a Serta and realized his life was only just sorta comfortable. The new Serta iComfort Hybrid Mattress. Not just sorta comfortable, Serta comfortable.
Feel the difference a good night's sleep can make. Exclusively available at Dreams, Bermuda's only mattress gallery.
attended the Mirror Super Camp. It was an awesome experience. I got to meet a lot of new people.
And then we also learned about the 8 keys of excellence. Keys open doors, keys open doors.
Super Camp is not like other camps. There's a strong focus here about looking at the options and the choices you have available to you and choosing the one that best reflects who you are.
I learned a lot about the way that I have to keep pushing and persevere no matter what's going on.
The best thing about Super Camp? It allows you the space to truly be yourself.
Anytime somebody finally came into their own presence and felt comfortable being who they were, that was a special moment for me at Super Camp.
Super Camp is about exploring who you are and transforming yourself.
It only gets better!
We invite you to join the transformation of a generation.
Welcome back. Well, on Friday, Premier David Burt delivered a statement to Parliament titled Righting a Historical Wrong. He highlighted Reverend Charles Monk, an American journalist and pastor who was persecuted a century ago after speaking out about the mistreatment of Jamaican workers building dockyard. Premier Burt touched on the very important role that the media plays in modern societies. And as members of the local news media, we thought it important to highlight passages from the statement for our listeners and viewers. His words have been voiced by Mike Sharp.
Journalists have a job to do, and where they do it, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Their work should be respected, and a truly democratic society cannot be said to prosecute, persecute, or move to silence the media. In a democratic society, the media plays a critical role in ensuring accountability, not just of public figures, but also of any entity in authority. This responsibility to speak truth to power is not one to be taken lightly, and a society relies upon its media to sometimes be the conscience of a community.
Thanks, Mike. Well, in other news, there's no such thing as a stop list for Bermudians with criminal convictions traveling to the United States. That's one message the new U.S. Consul General, Mrs. Constance Dearman, would like to get across as she starts her term in the post. She's a career diplomat who brings 3 decades of experience to her new job, including spells in postings like Afghanistan and Iraq. She sat down with our Jasmine Patterson.
Mrs. Dearman arrived this month and has already met with the governor and the premier, building key links in the special relationship Bermuda has with the United States.
I find it such a privilege to be able to be part of the continuation of that relationship. We have a very strong and long common history, and I think that history has bode well for both the United States and Bermuda. So I look forward to looking at what is next. How do we partner in opportunities that expand educational opportunities? How do we look at economic opportunities? How do we look at security? All of these things are mutually important to us.
But there are some issues between the two. The so-called stop list, one of them. Bermudians with even minor criminal convictions have found they can't enter the U.S. But Mrs. Dearman says there are still ways for such people to visit.
I've heard about the stop list or the perception of a stop list. There is not a stop list. And I think that's the important message to get to people, that there is not a stop list. Like many other countries, individuals with convictions, that impacts their ability to travel. However, individuals here in Bermuda who may have a past conviction can apply for a waiver, and we encourage people to take advantage of that process. Many people have been able to successfully overcome their status and travel to the United States. It can be a process, however. It may take a month or so, maybe up to 3 months. So a little advanced planning, apply for the waiver, and people may be very successful.
Another issue is the latest Bermuda passport issued from the UK. Because it has a GBR country code, many Bermudian travelers have suffered delays, with some countries insisting they need a visa to enter the United States. The consulate says it can issue special cards to help explain the situation, but Mrs. Dearman says it's not really an American problem.
I would again just encourage people to use the card. We do what we can to make others aware of the privilege, but frequent visitors can also get a visa if they feel that would help their travel be a little bit smoother.
Most recently, Mrs. Dearman, a wife and mother of 5, has been working in Washington, D.C. as a Deputy Assistant Secretary of State in the Bureau of Human Resources, with responsibilities for coordinating diplomatic staff. Her work has taken her across the globe, including Afghanistan, Iraq, Barbados, Australia, and Switzerland. But diplomatically, she says she's already grown fond of Bermuda.
It is extraordinarily beautiful, and it's just stunning to see the beautiful colors, the water. But what really has stood out to me is the warmth of the people. From the time I arrived, walking through the customs and immigration area, I had nothing but warmth and welcome.
And she's appealed to Bermudians to get in touch if they have any suggestions for places she should visit on the island. You can contact her through the U.S. Consulate's Facebook page or on the Consulate Twitter account at U.S. Cons Hamilton. Jasmine Patterson reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Turning to other news, another hot and sunny day today, but will it last? Here's the latest from AccuWeather headquarters.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
The BF&M Insurance Group is pleased to bring you tonight's AccuWeather forecast. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brittany Boyer, and hopefully you had a great weekend. It's definitely been a very muggy and humid day today, and that means one thing. We have a cold front on the way, but looking at the water vapor right now, you can see we're in that drier air sector. We've had the clouds moving in today, and eventually we are going to have some rain. If we take a look at our radar here, you can see that frontal boundary draped off to our north, and this could be bringing a beneficial rain for us here on the island. The last 7 days, we haven't had a whole lot of rain. Over the last 30 days, though, we've had close to 5.5 inches of rainfall. But you can see a little bit closer to our home area, the rainfall is still just out of the picture, but it will be moving in, and we'll definitely be experiencing that throughout the day on Tuesday. For tonight, well, right now, I should say, temperatures are in the low 80s, so it's humid outside. Humidity sitting between 75 and 80%. Dew points today have been in the mid-70s, and that is a very tropical air you can wear type of air mass. Winds right now coming in out of the southwest, 10 to 15 knots. The water is comfortable, but the water is going to be a little bit choppy here over the next couple of days. Waves inside the reef between 1 to 2 feet and outside between 3 and 5 feet. So we'll take a look at our futurecast as we head into the future here. Heading into tonight and into Tuesday, you can see that frontal boundary starting to push farther to our south, and as it does so, we have the opportunity for some showers, at times some heavy rain, and possibly even some thunderstorms as well. As this continues to drop its way on south, it could be lingering right over us into Wednesday, so we're still at least going to allow for a few spotty showers at least through the middle of the work week. So what do we got going right now for our marine alerts? A small craft warning. This is Tuesday night into Wednesday afternoon. You can see your tidal times right here. Keep in mind, if you're heading out in the water, you'll be dodging some showers, some thunderstorms, and also some choppy conditions as well. For tonight, it stays muggy outside. Temperatures in the mid-70s. We'll have a couple of showers. This is going to be primarily late tonight. The winds will be picking up ahead of this frontal boundary, and once it's near us, we'll have to watch out for those thunderstorms. We could be looking at as high as upwards of 1/2 inch or more of rain, depending on where this actually tracks over our area. If you're doing any traveling, here's a look at the gateway forecast. New York, 76 and sunny for tomorrow. Boston, 76, and we will have some showers and some storms in Atlanta and Miami, Florida. A couple of showers and thunderstorms right now. Jamaica, Barbados, and also Trinidad. Tropical development. Nothing to talk about with that, and that's the way we like it. Here's your extended forecast. Most of the rainfall coming on Tuesday will allow for a spotty shower Wednesday and Thursday. Temperatures stay in the low 80s, and Friday is looking pretty nice.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
I was diagnosed with illness. Very frightening because my son had just turned 1 and it was a cancer. So I'm young, new baby, and I needed to get the care that I knew would be definitive so that I wanted to be around for him for a very long time. I got in contact with BF&M, and BF&M was able to commit at that time to doing at least 50%, so we were comfortable, okay, well, we're gonna go. We got off the plane actually the day of the procedure, and on my way to the limo, my case manager called and she says, Kiana, we got it, you're covered at 100%. And I cried all the way to the office because I was just so happy. The BF&M difference is that I really felt that the case manager really was concerned about my overall care. And because of that, I really appreciated them. I think that personal care, that willingness to listen, and then to work until they were able to get it so that I could get full coverage really made the difference for me.
I got these for seasickness last week, and they're terrible.
That's strange.
I know. I put one behind each ear like you're supposed to, and nothing happened.
These are tablets. You're meant to take them with water.
I got this pump for my asthma. Hasn't changed anything.
Show me how you're using it. It's an inhaler. You're meant to breathe it in.
Well, this toothpaste, definitely off.
It's a hemorrhoid cream.
Well, that explains why my gums are shrinking.
Well, if you were at the airport today, you may have noticed that the drop-off points have been moved. The change is just for the week as work continues on upgrading the air handling units. Meanwhile, next door, work continues on the new airport where Tony Waterman recently got a tour.
As you can see, we've got the steel going up. This is actually about 1/3 of the steel of the building. This will be an outdoor patio area. We're now in what the future is going to be, the departures hall. The check-in counters will be across over here. Behind the check-in counters is where we're going to install a lot of the baggage systems that will take your bags when you drop them off and take them out through the security checks they have to go through. So you'll come here, there will be the belts where you pick up your bags and proceed through customs. Apron 7, it's where the aircraft will be parking to allow passengers onloading and offloading in the future. The yellow pipe behind me, that's the fuel line to add fuel hydrants into the apron to allow for aircraft fueling. This is the corridor. There's going to be hold rooms on different locations as we go through with the boarding bridges.
And still to come, Earl Basin will have all the latest sports news. That's in just a few minutes.
système, Red One, Shaoki.
Welcome back. Well, a tense day for several teams in the World Cup today. Portugal among those in action, taking on Iran in a game they had to win or draw. After a Portugal goal just before halftime, Iran equalized from the penalty spot in the 93rd minute. In a frantic close to the match, they even had a chance to win. Like all the World Cup matches, we televised that live on Channel 7. We're also streaming all the action on BermudaBroadcasting.com. Just click on 2018 FIFA World Cup Russia. It's all made possible by our sponsors, Colonial Group International, Butterfield, the Lindos Group of Companies, and Bermuda Motors. And for those not following the football and missing The Young and the Restless, it'll be aired at 8 p.m. on ZBM TV 9. Now, with all the other sports news, here's our Earl Baisden.
History was made on Saturday at the Devonshire Recreation Club as Tough Dogs were crowned the Central County Cup champions.
Batting first, Tough Dogs would score 427 all out. Dean Miners was their top scorer with 88. He faced 40 deliveries, hitting 7 fours and 8 sixes. Tim Davis added 76. He faced 78 balls, hitting 7 fours and 3 sixes. Jordan De Silva scored 71 off of 57 balls, hitting 7 fours and 4 sixes. And McLaren Lowe scored 52 off of 41 deliveries, hitting 6 fours and 3 sixes. Dion Ball Jr. was the pick of the North Village bowlers with figures of 10 overs, 5 for 94. In reply, North Village were bowled out for 80. Darren Adams was their top scorer. He was one of only 3 batsmen in double figures. He scored 16. Arnold Mendes was the pick of the Tough Dog bowlers. He bowled 2.4 overs. He took 4 for 7. Derek Brengman took 4 for 9 off of 5 overs that included 3 maidens. Kenny Lejour began competing in the 2018 Future Masters Golf Tournament in Alabama. Lejour, who finished 10th during the recently concluded Bermuda Stroke Play Championships, is competing in the boys 13 to 14 age group division. Lejour shot an opening round even par 70 and is currently tied 8, 5 strokes off the leader Nick Dunlap from Alabama. Lejour recorded 4 birdies, 10 pars, and 4 bogeys in his round. He was at 3 under par with 3 holes to play, but he had 3 consecutive bogeys to close out his round. Erica Hawley competed in the Continental Triathlon Championships in Brazil and was 4th in the under-23 division. Hawley, competing in an Olympic distance event, which was her first ITU Olympic distance, crossed the line in a time of 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 30 seconds. Meanwhile, 7 Bermuda triathletes took up the challenge and competed in the Ironman Costa Rica 70.3 event. Clocking a time of 4 hours, 56 minutes, and 1 second, saw Jeff Smith finish 2nd in the men's 50 to 54 age group. He was the 57th male finisher and 60th overall. Chris Eaton finished 7th in the men's 50 to 54 age group after clocking a time of 5 hours, 16 minutes, and 53 seconds. He was the 124th male to cross the line and 137th overall. Louise Wells won the female 45 to 49 age group and claimed a spot at the Worlds in South Africa in September. She was clocked across the line in a time of 5 hours, 25 minutes, and 15 seconds. She was the 17th female finisher and 185th overall. Daniel Phillips is competing on the Caribbean Junior Tennis Circuit. Phillips is in Aruba playing in the Aruba 2018 qualifiers. Phillips has advanced to the main tournament of the boys under 14 division following his come-from-behind victory over Munez Emmanuel from Dominican Republic. Emmanuel is the 5th-ranked player on the tour circuit. He won the first set 6-2, but Phillips would level the match at 1-1 when he won the second set 6-2. The third and final set saw Phillips advance after picking up a 6-1 win. Isla Lopes competed in the Hoffman Group Masters Local Championship horse jumping event in the Netherlands. Lopes and Amarula in the 1.25 meter in 2 phases class finished 7th. They had a first phase clear round time of 38.98 and they would have a clear second phase time of 25.17. Lopes and Escalada finished 38th in the same class. They had a first phase time of 41.59, but they had 4 penalty fault points. And then they clocked a second phase time of 26.79, but again again, they had 4 penalty foul points.
I'm Earl Baisden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
Thank you, Earl. Well, that's our newscast for tonight. I'm Dianne Brewer. See you back here same time, same place. Good night.